What's up, everybody? Jughead's Journey here. Welcome back to our Let's Watch Hunter x Hunter series. Today we're watching episode 92, One Wish and Two Promises. So without any further ado, tune in, watch alongside with me during my full uncut reaction, and stay for my in-depth analysis discussion afterwards. So, Hunter x Hunter, episode 92 in 3, 2, 1. Let's watch this. A lot of stuff I want to see today. Colt meet Netero, for sure. Colt arrived under white flag. And we're at the Hunter Association headquarters. We're not even in NGL anymore. Huh. So Netero believed Colt. Let him live and believe. Send over a team of Chimera Ant researchers immediately. So they already have dedicated researchers. And doctors. Okay, so surgeons as well. And I would love if their traveling uses Knov's portals as sort of like an instant transmission to get inside of NGL, in and out, with whatever technology they want, as many people as they want. Especially in this case, with all the surgical equipment and everything. He's cutting his hair off. Isn't that a symbolic gesture? We'll do everything we can. Oh, Colt's here. Ooh. He's at the Hunter Association headquarters. That's like so weird. He's looking good. So the symbol on his chest means heart. Is that also a symbolic t-shirt? His lucky t-shirt. He only wears when the fight's for real. Damn. And the meditative breathing. Oh shit. How do I compare? Well, considering we don't even know if you were strong enough to beat a royal guard. So is Colt cool with him killing the king? Most likely. Yikes. Ugh. Oh. If anything, Netero will respect that he's chuckling. Yeah. I like the honesty. First person to not glaze me. At this age, I'll be a challenger. This is exciting. Finally, not an easy fight. I like that. That's an enhancer for you. Just like a Gon or a Goku or whatever. I want a good fight. That's all I want. Finally, I'm the underdog. I'm off to see an old acquaintance. So go on without me. Who is this old acquaintance? What the hell? Oh, there's shooting Knuckle. True, he won the bet. Are they going straight into the nest? Would the royal guards and the king be gone? Because isn't it when the king is born, he abandons the nest to go build his own new kingdom? Most of our soldiers joined the other squadrons and left. Whoa, Koala, I haven't seen him in a while. So I suspect, can I press the spacebar on? Okay. I assume, you know, people like Hagia left, Zazan left. Trying to think of who hasn't been fucking killed yet. Ramit probably left. Nah, maybe Ramit would stay with Colt. But definitely those two have gone off to do their own thing. This octopus is so weird. And he's wearing, I thought that was a top hat. Artificial organs. He's willing to sacrifice his own body. His own organs. You two are completely, almost a different species. Yeah. Yeah, none of you would be able to share organs. Nobody else has like a medical nen ability. Only I can understand how difficult and how much nen and imagination or whatever would require to create something like that, which is why Pito, though we haven't seen it yet, was able to create something that rebuilt Kite. Nobody else has a nen ability like that to use. Especially since Netero asked for the top of the line medical staff we have. Storytelling wise, she has to die. Someone what? Oh, speaking telepathically. It has to be so weird for everybody else. Doesn't have vocal cords like humans do. The king. Considering he was born so premature. I mean, he has a pretty bad temperament. All she cares about is that she... No! You fucking liars. That would upset Knuckle. The same way it would upset Gone. For the lack of humanity. Like I was saying, all she cares about is she built the perfect specimen. What? Huh? She's lived a full life. She's fulfilled her purpose. She's ready to die. At least let her down. Easy. Like I was saying, fulfilled her purpose. Yes, what are the rest of your children going to do? Look, ooh, those artificial organs. None of this is gonna work. I have what? I have no regrets. Knuckle's gonna cry, right? The softie. Because he's seen, you have to... They're not exchanging blows, but you have to see them to understand them. And the entire reason he wanted to come here was to stop the extermination. Ooh, the king's getting a name, so I don't have to just call him the king. Is gonna be some other complicated-ass name? Meruem. Meruem. The light that illuminates all. Even though he's, you know, a monster. But that's me as a human giving a moral judgment. My beloved son. A lot of emotion for a king that does not give a fuck about you. So Meruem. In my brain, I keep wanting to say Miriam. I keep flipping the E and the U around in my head. Miriam, but it's Meruem. I'm gonna fuck that up so many times. Whoa, that's a line. I failed to rewind. Let's go back 3 seconds. That is, I failed to protect her again. Genetic memory. Reina. Why did he say her again? If Reina wasn't her. There he is. He's fucking crying. Oh, they don't even know about genetic memory. Why is he so cute? Our human personality strongly influence our current behavior. Yes. Wow. I failed to protect her again, and he's thinking about his younger sister. Because the mom's not dead, so he can't be, relating it to his human mother. But he's relating it to when he was Kurt and he couldn't protect his sister. But his sister's DNA is in there somewhere. We never saw someone be born. What's the fuck's going on? What the hell's going on? What the fuck? What am I about to see? What is he pulling out? That fits in the palm of his hand. What the fuck? What the fuck? That's 100%, 101% human baby. Down to the umbilical cord. And why is it so tight? It looked... Okay, that's 100% fucking human. Why the... What the... Why is that a 100% human baby inside her organs, not in an... Oh, well, the egg was broken. Dude. Okay, I don't want to stay paused for too long. But 2 possibilities here. Now, he's going to protect that baby with his life. He's going to be thinking... This is the last remaining remnant of the queen. And he's thinking about his sister who he couldn't save. And he's going to protect this sibling with everything he has. Okay, so 2 things. This is either when she was dying. Okay, the reason it's so small is either she, at the last moment when she was dying, used whatever she had left to birth one last child, and that's all that could be developed in time before she died. And because she had so little, material left. But I don't know, and after consuming so many humans, I still don't know why it's 100% human, though. Or this is the king's, the Meruem's twin sibling. And 2 egg, in a human pregnancy, the egg can split into 2. And this is a twin sibling. And because, remember, there was a few episodes ago where, I forget who said it, where the queen is devoting 100% energy, devoting everything to developing the king. So this twin sibling wouldn't have gotten, you know, the material, the life energy, the food, the sustenance to develop, and remained like this, just in some like embryonic state. Those two possibilities. Either she developed it at the last second. What the fuck is going on? Then we'll let you live and we'll work with you. Never eat another human again. Because I will kill you. But if you can show change, because you have humanity inside you. Ooh. So either I'll kill you myself, or I'll never let anyone touch you ever again. Even that hit him in the feels. Even that brought on the waterworks for him. Little snotty nose. Maybe that's, you know, I was about to say, this kind of shows that Knuckle and Shoot have the right master. Because before I was saying, how does Morel have a softy and a coward as his two students? Here, I can at least understand the softy side. Oh, it has a tail, though. So not 100% human. But it looks incredibly human. And how is that going to develop any longer? Wow. Full on that gave me goosebumps. This just gave me goosebumps. Like my arms are chilly right now. Wow. I have so much to think about with that. What the hell was even that? Awkward bubble pop. This is awkward. Are y'all gonna cheer up or what? That's what she's about to... Never mind, he's doing it. Enough sulking about! Enough sulking. Enough being depressed. That's true. They know Kite more than anybody besides Jing or whatever. Yeah, I would have kicked your ass if you were still being a fucking little depressed kid. Kite would never accept this. That's resolve. Resolve is to make the correct decision and have the will to do it. Start training right now. Yeah, let's learn more about these characters. Oh, okay, that's pretty simple. Kind of like a Leorio. I need the money. No. Are they endangered? So I bought the entire area where the mine is. Make it like a sanctuary for them? Wow, Kite fronted the money. The only adult who is willing to listen to kids who had nothing at all, because that's what Jing did for him. Kite was once a kid who had nothing. Is Stin the nickname for stick dinner? Stick? Din? Stin? The sight of 1,000 small-billed swans taking flight with the light of dawn at their backs. That sounded poetic. So they're childhood friends. They want to protect that memory by protecting the swans in their habitat. Doesn't even know where he's born. Well, I know that won't be foreshadowing to her dying, because why? She has no reason to be an NGL. So please stay alive so we can actually do that. Ooh, they're in the nest. Oh, duh. I'm an idiot. They've been in the nest. Never mind. I meant as in they're like exploring on their own, and are they gonna encounter anybody? Is everybody in this nest that's left friendly or not? I hear a lot of legs tapping at once. Is this gonna be the fucking spider guy that I hate? I'd love to see these two people. Is that the spider? Nope, it's fucking Kite! Oh. Okay, I thought that was Kite for a second. Did Chitu just kill her? I forgot about Chitu. He's gonna want to be a king too. And crocodile guy. Who did he just eat? Oh god. Plenty of food and females. He can go through the ocean. I am the glutton king. So Chitu's the speed king. He's the glutton king. Ah, okay. Zazan, she's the bikini queen or king. Because technically, are they biologically male and female, or are they only presenting as the gender they identify with? Feminine or masculine? The Republic of East Gorto. Is this going to be the king's new palace? He's taking this joint over. Who lives here? The little sparkles that follow. Wow. Okay, then. Let's discuss. Oh boy, this is gonna be a long one. I'm about to dive into some deep shit here. We're talking, this is gonna get kind of philosophical, spiritual, I don't know what, but let's get into this. Morel and Knov take Colt out of NGL to meet Netero. I'm not sure if Netero was still in NGL when they met, and that's where the portal led, or if the portal led to Netero, who is already at the Hunter Association HQ, since he, he's already killed so many Chimera Ants by then. No one else was coming out. Let me just go back, handle some Hunter Association business, chairman, have to go back to the office. I'm trying to, picture how this was working. I imagine they're like using Knov's portals to get around instantaneously, especially if they're smuggling a damn Chimera Ant out of NGL in and out. But I'm not sure because like you see them riding around, you see them riding Netero's airship, and to use the portal would also require that Knov already set up one in advance at the HQ. But with the queen dying, literally every second counts. So can they really waste time traveling by airship and stuff? See, that's what I'm trying to like piece together. Just simple stuff like that right off the bat. Netero believed Colt, since we see him requesting Chimera Ant researchers, top surgeons, artificial organ experts. This also shows how technologically advanced this world is, with artificial organs in the medical field. Now, we don't know if those are accessible to the public, or how expensive they are. That would be pretty like damn dystopian. That would be like a Blade Runner cyberpunk level dystopia right there, even for Hunter x Hunter. But I do like the subtle world building, even just with, the passing comment of artificial organs to convey the technology of this world and how separate this world is from our own. Not just with the existence of Nen, but subtle world building dropped into conversation like that. Surely a Nen user with advanced intelligence invented artificial organs, I would guess. We have to talk about Netero cutting off his top knot, the symbolism behind that, and the foreshadowing that presents. How incredibly symbolic a gesture that is and what it means for the future. This is where we are diving deep. So be prepared, strap in, whatever, ears open. How poignant. I watched this episode with this scene the day after Tatsuya Nakadai passes away, who played the main character in Harakiri, where in that movie, he cuts the top knots off several assassins he bested and throws them to the ground in front of the daimyo's senior counselor at his feet, a sign of great dishonor for them, worse than death. Tatsuya's character, Tsugumo, says in this scene, for a samurai to have his top knot taken is the same as having his head stricken off. It is an ineptitude, a disgrace that can scarcely be atoned for even by death. One of my favorite scenes in all of cinema. Harakiri would actually be an amazing movie night to watch. But in this episode, Netero cuts his own top knot off, which can have several interpretations. First of all, it can mean rebirth, starting new, breaking away from the past, moving on. I don't believe Netero is being reborn. I believe it means the exact opposite. And he does this because he is accepting death. In Japanese historical culture, the top knot was a sign of your status as a samurai, as a warrior class. It was a marker of duty and honor and even public identity because your hair was your uniform. So to have it cut off was to be stripped of your status and uniform. A samurai would rather his head be cut off than his top knot. I feel like Netero is stripping himself of all his status, accepting his inevitable death and what has to happen, what he must do. I believe Netero understands he is not returning from this upcoming face-off with Meruem. He is putting aside rank and status for a role with no return. This gesture of cutting off his hair solidified his fate for me. His path ends with Meruem. Just like in samurai lore, once cut, you cannot come back. When I watched this episode the first time around, I was trying to think about where I know this gesture from. I know it's significant, but I just couldn't remember. The news of Tatsuya's death I hadn't seen yet, but by the time I watched the episode a second time around to take notes and begin editing the video, I saw that Tatsuya Nakadai passed away, and I immediately connected the dots to Harakiri. You know, I consider myself pretty knowledgeable when it comes to Buddhism, and Theravada and Mahayana Buddhism. Myself always aligning more with Mahayana and within that Zen, as Mahayana is less self centered. And when I was in Japan, I really read up more and immersed myself in more Buddhist history and wisdom, being a part of the culture. When I went to Todaiji Temple in Nara and saw the great Buddha Daibutsu, the 50-foot tall bronze statue of Vairocana, or Birushana in Japanese, seated on a ginormous lotus flower, bodhisattvas encircling him, with two more immense bodhisattvas flanking him on both sides, sunlight and moonlight. One of the most beautiful, awe-inspiring things I'd ever seen, and one of the more powerful moments of my life. And so I was thinking just now, also in a spiritual, religious sense, Netero can also be seen as a monk, like in Buddhism. Cutting your hair is a sign of leaving worldly attachment. So for me, Netero is also letting go and dropping all his worldly attachments, like status, vanity, position, reputation, and he is accepting death. Again, if we're talking about spirituality and Buddhism, which is full of death reminders, cutting his top knot is a death reminder, and he is freeing himself by reminding himself of and accepting his death. And he's taking the job and responsibility no one else can or should bear. Accepting total loss, that is the price to protect many. That is Mahayana. That is Kanon. Fear cannot grip you when you are this free. Netero is also likewise dishonoring himself, possibly in anticipation for what he may need to do or resort to in order to defeat the king. So he is stripping himself of all his titles and his status as hunter, chairman, effectively severing ties to the Hunter Association and stepping down from his position, as this will be his final act. So it's these two ideas melded together, kind of saying the same thing. Netero is embodying a Mahayana bodhisattva, hearing the cries of the world, cursing oneself if doing so protects others. He is cursing himself to protect others. Compassion first, by helping the Chimera Ant Queen. Responsibility second, doing what he must. Lastly, self-sacrifice, which we will see in the inevitable future. Compassion, then responsibility, then self-sacrifice. By cutting off his top knot, he has fully awakened himself. After this, we see Netero in different clothes. He's changed into his lucky shirt that says heart on the chest, which rumors say he only wears when he fights for real. Wearing a whole sermon on his chest, the single kanji across his chest, kokoro, which in the episode we're told simply means heart, but it's kind of like a bundle of heart and mind and spirit all in one word. I've heard this word a lot. Many idioms and expressions using kokoro. It's used very freely, but it's very hard to translate into English. It's one of those that doesn't translate well because it more implies than defines. It implies your emotional reactions. It suggests together inclusively the mental, spiritual, emotional states of sentient beings. It's almost more to do with intention, fusing feeling and thought and will together. Martial artists talk about the trinity of heart, mind, and technique and body. Your weapon is not your fist. In Hunter x Hunter, it's not nen, it's the disposition behind them. Again, going back to Buddhism, this word you'll also find in Zen practice, and maybe you've heard of the word mushin. the ideal of mushin, a heart mind that acts without clinging. Because I don't know if you know, but if you take the same kanji character for Kokoro that is across his chest, you can pronounce it as shin when combined with the character for mu, and you get mushin. Mu is like nothingness, none. Shin is Kokoro. So combine the two together, and you literally get what pretty much translates into no Kokoro, no mind. In Zen, Mushin is the highest mental state or mental clarity you can achieve, where you are free from all thoughts, all distraction, and you reach a sort of all supreme concentration and presence. So you see how that's difficult to translate into English because it's so intangible, it's so slippery and elusive. Like you can't quite grab it, and you shouldn't. Again, it's like Zen Buddhism itself. The moment you even try to define Zen Buddhism, you failed it. Even me trying to attach the English words mind, heart, soul, spirit, feeling, it doesn't do the concept of Kokoro justice. Like, the best thing you can really do when thinking of Kokoro in English is, instead of alternating the words heart, mind, spirit in your head, just think Kokoro. I think that makes sense. And so think about what Netero did. He performed a ritual. Colt waved the white flag and Netero honored it. Called for researchers and surgeons for the queen. Did the humane thing first, followed procedure. Then he cut his hair. Then he put on heart. Procedure, renunciation, vow. He is carrying this whole fight with his whole Kokoro and will accept the cost. Procedure, renunciation, vow. Compassion, responsibility, self-sacrifice. Like I said, carrying the whole fight with his whole Kokoro, and he accepts the cost. This shirt can be called lucky by others, but Kokoro is written on the shirt because it is his focus object. It is his totem, I guess you could call it. His Kokoro object. Soldiers carry certain things with them into battle. Monks carry finger mala. Athletes wear the same shoes, the same cleats, the same headband, the same gloves every game. Whatever it is, for whoever, it shuts out the noise and pulls their mind into line. Netero put his shirt on, and his body and mind became a temple or monastery that fear and ego can't enter. So you pit that up against the king, who's all appetite right now. Kokoro, Mushin versus hunger. And Netero casually says to himself, this may be the last time I wear this. No fear, no apprehension, no anxiety. That is Mushin and Zen. Saying goodbye to tomorrow so he can solely inhabit the present with total attention. I was just talking about Buddhism, but can I quickly switch to Seneca, Epictetus, Aurelius, and say how almost stoic Netero is in accepting the high possibility of death, the responsibility that comes with being the chairman and achieving the mission that he's given? That's a hunter right there. What is up to us and what is not? He can't control if the queen lives or dies. He can't control how Meruem will act. He can't control whether he himself will even return. He controls his preparation, his intention, and some certain terms, and that's it. That's textbook hunter, and that's textbook stoic. This may be the last time I wear this. That isn't self-pity. It's just memento mori that clears the mind. In our culture, in Western culture, we're usually taught positive visualization. We're supposed to imagine all the good coming to us. Getting first place, winning the lottery, becoming famous, But Stoics actually argued you should practice negative visualization. You should vividly imagine potential misfortune. The Latin phrase premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. If you could contemplate what could go wrong, you can mentally and emotionally prepare for adversity and gain resilience instead of falling to anxiety and fear. A lot of people fuck this up though, because they don't close the loop. They end up spiraling themselves into anxiety and negativity because they don't know how to do this correctly. The point is that you're supposed to visualize how your ideal self would deal with those events. Netero has already walked through the possible futures already. He can visualize his ideal self handling whatever possible future, even if it's death. Amor fati, love of fate. Don't just tolerate fate, love however the dice fall. Netero shows off his aura, or I guess Ren, to Colt. Since he has been in the king's presence, he can evaluate how the two stack up. He wants Colt's honest opinion, while Morel and Knov admire how special he is, like they always have. He's up on a pedestal. Colt tells him the brutal truth, his honest opinion, like Netero asked. Colt tells him, most likely he won't be able to lay a finger on the king. He won't even be able to get past the royal guards. And Netero just chuckles. I'm happy to hear that. At this age, I'll be a challenger. This is exciting. This is also stoic acceptance. I'm outmatched? Fine. Only thing up to me is purely how I can meet the moment. Also very Zen-like. Netero takes the underdog position as oxygen and fuel. He's more curious than prideful, genuinely curious about the king. The great fighters out there all want the truest measure. When your entire life as a fighter has been spent being the yardstick others measure against, how exciting to finally be tested and face a being above him. That's the essence of fighting. Netero is excited to finally fight as an underdog, as the weaker of the two. Not because of skill, it's just due to age. In his prime, no one could come close. And even as he aged out of his prime, it sounds like he's never had to fight someone above him. So in his old age, he's excited to finally face someone above him. That's what all great fighters yearn for. And he has that wish granted, and that wish fulfillment may kill him. And Netero probably not want to go out any other way. Die of old age? Natural causes? Die in his bed? What a boring end. No. Fighting in my Kokoro lucky shirt against someone I'm told I won't even be able to lay a finger on? Let's go. Sounds like a Saiyan to me. Didn't want to destroy the androids before they were activated simply because Goku and Vegeta liked the sound of fighting enemies so powerful? Part of me almost thinks Netero's glad the king was born so that he can fight him. Have all this training be for and leading up to something like this. They arrive at the nest, and the group, not Netero though, he has to meet up with an old acquaintance, whatever the hell that means. They arrive at the nest, Knov, Morel, Knuckle, Shoot, Colt with them, can freely enter as like the only ones who are loyal to Colt and the Queen. You know, they're the only ones left, and they accept the human help, like Ram, Panda, Octopus, Koala. Koala for some reason is here, who we haven't seen in like a dozen episodes. Random. Well, most of the other soldiers, officers, squadron leaders have already decided to leave and, venture out to form their own kingdoms. And this upcoming scene is very powerful. Colt offers up his own organs and his own life to save the queen. That's love. The most primal currency possible. My body, my life. Which takes the hunters back. The camera cuts to Morel and the others reacting to that statement. It's meant to convey how these humans are watching and listening to this Chimera Ant display genuine humanity. Um, nothing like the others that they've encountered and killed, going against everything they've assumed about these creatures. They're not humans evaluating, judging ants as threats and targets. They're just humans just witnessing this. It's a very human moment. A being you were assigned to kill, to exterminate, and have been training to kill and have been already killing by the dozens. This one just behaved like the best version of human. The queen telepathically speaks to Colt, speaks to the people in the room, the Chimera Ants in the room. She wants to know if her son was born healthy, if he had any defects, even despite forcefully birthing himself out of her, telling her to shut up when she told him, wait, it's too early, and killing her, not giving a shit about her dying on the floor. Her purpose was to create a perfect, ultimately powerful specimen as king, and her purpose was fulfilled. She was devoted to that singular purpose, and she loves her creation through the lens of that purpose. And I love how Colt lies to her, telling her he's out finding medicine. Like, it's just such an unbelievable lie. Like, would the queen even care? Like, I feel like she would even find that out of place for the king. But it's just funny. Like, he killed some of your oldest borns and ditched the nest to find himself a new kingdom. He's perfectly fine and he cares a lot about you. The only reason he's not here is because he's, finding medicine. She's asking about defects when the first act felt like a catastrophic defect. The queen isn't human whatsoever, as we know of, but she expresses the complete and total selflessness of a mother wanting the best for her child, for her son. Pure maternal unconditional love, which is very human. One of the most human acts imaginable. Spending her last breaths on her child's well-being and safety. Literally like your own mother, counting your fingers and toes as a baby. She lived as a factory, but in death reveals herself purely as mother, wanting what mothers want. There's a human heart behind the machine. Very poetic. I like the shot of the queen looking up at the operating light, at the operating room light, to symbolize, her seeing the light as she approaches death, and also later connecting to the king's name. She is going towards the light and also handing it to her child. And the voice actor for Colt here, incredible. Really got the shine in this scene, showing emotion and range. Makes sense for the most human the character's been since he first appeared. But I loved it. Again, you see the hunters behind Colt react to his begging and pleading, begging the queen to hold on. Without her, they'll go astray and perish, pleading with the surgeons to use his body to save her. Again, they're taken back by how human Colt is behaving, how misunderstanding they've been towards the Chimera Ants. Chimera Ants were up for extermination, annihilation, any and all. But now it's like their mission's deeper than it was before. Ought we be guardians as much as hunters? She again looks up at the light, extending her arm towards it, watching the light wrap around her fingers, and looking up at the light, she comes up with the name Meruem for the king, meaning the light that illuminates all. I think back to when the first Chimera Ants she birthed approached her as a group and asked if they could give themselves names. And she agreed, thinking how odd that was. And here she is at her end, thinking about what to name the king. Her last thought alive being a name for her child. One of the most human things, naming. Like, it's the primary anchor for a person in this world, their identity, their name. Measured her value and spent all her energy producing a perfect specimen, a perfect instrument, and she dies insisting that that instrument be a someone. Make sure he gets his name, and a name that has meaning behind it, light that illuminates all. In I assume in their language too. This makes me think of enlightenment. Since I said last discussion, being the most human biologically, the king has the potential to have the most humanity, be the most human. Since we know Togashi does not write one-dimensional villains, there has to be more to Meruem. And the queen dies. Colt looks down on her, cries, I failed to protect her again. This is huge. Such a powerful line. Again? Failed to protect her again? He's thinking about his younger sister, Reina, from his previous life as a human, when he was Kurt. Genetic memory coming through. And he's thinking about how he couldn't protect his sister, Reina, from being killed by the Chimera Ant soldier. Mother and sister collapse into this single duty he couldn't fulfill. This makes me think about if Colt, since he identifies with his previous life's actions as if they were his own, because you could argue they both were and weren't, he owns Kurt's inability to protect his sister Reina as his own inability to protect Reina. His psyche continued from Kurt to Colt, even if the body and the species did not. And the theory of identity would say what matters in identity are the knitted together memories formed into a self. And that makes me wonder if Colt also, having those genetic memories, grieved his sister's death as well. If he owns the memory as his own, then that grief had to have stuck around and returned and hit him full force. Or is this the moment right here he grieved it? Is this the moment here where he's mourning two losses at once? This is really the first time he's mentioned or fully expressed and verbalized his past life and Reina. I also wonder how he feels about being a Chimera Ant, when a Chimera Ant is what killed him and his sister in the first place. Would it cause self-disgust or not? Or instead, like a thinking of, okay, I was made by a killing machine into one, but I'll use that strength to protect. Because that's kind of what we see be confirmed in this episode. And I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Togashi could really go deep into these ideas. What we have to talk about, though, what we have to talk about is the fucking scene where Colt finds an almost embryonic, tiny human fetus baby thing inside the queen. No bigger than a damn kidney bean in the palm of his hands. Looks 100% human, but you can see it has a tail. Obviously, it's a Chimera Ant, but upon first glance, it looks 100% human. But the existence of that tail means, at minimum, 1% Chimera Ant, 99% human. Even has an umbilical cord. Huh? Which makes me think, wait, I never even paid attention if the Chimera Ants have belly buttons. Zazan, Mosquito, all the Chimera Ants with overtly human bodies have belly buttons. I had to go back and literally, I had to Google image them and see because I never even thought about it. Why would Chimera Ants have belly buttons unless they also have umbilical cords? And, only placental mammals have them unless the mother also had human DNA in her. That's the other fascinating thing. We get no backstory on the queen. If she mutated, if she was a hybrid of something, you get nothing about her. Again, kind of like an alien resurrection xenomorph queen hybrid thing going on that I said last discussion. And her pregnancy was a mix of both. I don't know. Egg, but also has placenta and umbilical cord. I don't know. I'm just trying to make sense of this damn fetus. Why is it in there? Where the hell did it come from? I don't know. Colt picks it up and says, I shall protect this child. I swear it. This time I won't fail. He adopts her. So I have two theories right now. Either she created this baby in her final moments with the energy she had left, just running on fumes, which is why it's in such a small embryonic state in terms of size. Whatever human DNA material she had left to reproduce, she used in her last moments to make this Chimera Ant. you obviously all know the lore behind this. I don't. So you're forced to listen to someone theorize ideas you know are wrong, which must be torture. And not even torture from listening to how wrong I am, but the torture that you can't tell me anything. You just have to sit there and wait until you can. My first idea was like, wait, what if this is her way to reincarnate herself? She dies the moment this tiny thing breathes life for the first time, crying, transferred herself into this little embryonic chimera ant right at the end, genetic memory from herself into it. Or what if this is Raina, Colt's sister? Since we never saw what happened to her when she got eaten, Kurt became Colt. What the hell happened to Raina? Colt always saw the queen as his mother and almost like sister. That's why she wanted to protect the queen. But if she saved Raina's DNA to birth this last one, and Colt feels such a bond to it because it's his sister and queen in one. I know that that sounds like likely so wrong, but that would be fucking insane. My second theory, and the one I'm taking seriously, is this is Meruem's twin sibling. And just like in human pregnancy, this sibling could either have come from one shared zygote splitting in two, which would mean identical twins and would have to therefore be the same sex and have the exact same DNA as the king, or the queen released two eggs that each developed separately, so they're fraternal twins. I think writing wise, Tagashi would make this a girl so that symbolically she represents the sister Kurt originally lost and can now take care of once again. And it would also be lame as hell if they're identical. If they're opposite sex, that means they're fraternal twins and two eggs, and I like this idea more. I forget exactly who said it back then, if it was one of the Chimera Ants, or if it was the queen herself, or the damn over-talkative narrator, but someone remarked how the queen was devoting all her energy into the king. So it would make sense that this sibling is so underdeveloped because it received next to no sustenance, no nourishment. It was all routed and channeled into the king. And it also makes sense this way why the queen had no clue whatsoever there was a second egg developing inside her. So theory number 2 is what stands out to me as being the most likely. And again, because I mean, theory number 1 is just batshit crazy. Takashi can be batshit crazy, but I don't think Reina or the queen got reincarnated because that would also imply the queen knowingly doing this and having a contingency plan and being aware. It sounds more stupid the more I talk about it and the more I waste breath on it, and it's just way too complicated. Theory number 2 makes much more sense. 2 eggs instead of 1. Unknown fraternal twin. Queen had no idea because she dedicated all her energy and nourishment to the king's egg. Morel steps forward, asking Colt if he can promise him that neither he nor the mystery child will ever kill and eat humans again. I don't know why, but that shot of Colt looking up at Morel, tears in his eyes, weeping, totally vulnerable and afraid with this delicate life in his hands, not knowing what Morel is about to say or do, because, Morel's weapon is in his face, and the camera looking past it, out of focus, looking directly at Morel, is a very powerful shot. Morel tells Colt if he can't make that promise, Colt and that child better get out of his sight immediately. He is still giving them the chance to live. He won't kill them right then and there. He's giving them a chance to run away if Colt can't keep that promise. But if Colt can keep his word and promise to never eat another human, then no one shall ever lay a finger on the two of them. They have his personal protection for life. And you can see Morel with a snotty nose holding back tears. A promise for a promise, title of the episode. Even Knuckle chimes in to say he got his soft nature from his master. I have to take my words back. I made fun of Morel before, how he is a softie and a coward for students. And at this point in time, I wouldn't call Shoot a coward any longer. But both of them, I would call softies, just men with soft natures. And turns out they get it from their master. That's how Morel can have two students like that. That's why Morel took them on to be their master and took them under his wing, because he's a softy himself. He saw himself in them. Watching Colt, all the hunters there remembered why they joined this profession in the first place, to protect life. He too cares about others, because either way, Colt and the child would live. One option, they run away and live. The other option, they gain his protection and live. Once Colt showed his humanity and care, that's what won Morel over completely. And I say completely because Morel was never even against Colt to begin with. When Colt approached them last episode, he didn't immediately view Colt as an enemy. He let Colt speak and accepted Colt's parley. Then, over time, Colt proved something to Morel, and that's why he stepped forward to give Colt an ultimatum. Just like Knuckle's own ideology. He must have gotten some of that from Morel. You can't judge an enemy to be your enemy until you've met and understood them. Colt is not their enemy. Like I said last discussion, Morel, Knov, Shoot, Knuckle, Netero only understood Chimera Ants to the extent that whatever little biological theory, hypotheses, and research could take them, but they had zero understanding just what exactly phagogenesis does and to what extent. They had no idea Chimera ants inherit genetic memory from their past human lives and carry on the personalities of their former human selves. They had no idea the level of individuality and free will they possessed. In this way, just like us human beings, there are some good and there are some bad. You cannot lump everyone in the species together if the individuals of that species are exactly that, so individual, with free will and consciousness. You cannot call them monsters merely for existing. They were surviving, following their nature, just like humans do. Each must be judged by their own actions and no one else's. If you study law, specifically criminal law, I studied business law and public policy law, not really criminology or criminal law. But one of the first terms you learn is mens rea, the guilty mind, the mental state required to commit a crime. An individual must have had the intention or knowledge of wrongdoing. Prosecutors must prove both actus reus, the guilty act, and mens rea, the guilty mind. To prove assault, you have to prove the application of force and the intent behind it. So here, you had Chimera ants that killed simply because the queen, the hive, demanded it. Because by nature, that is what they are designed to do. That's what ants do. They were following biology and nature, animal behavior. But you also had ants who were killing for fun, for dominance, who had clear intentions to treat humans as toys, killing for entertainment. You have mens rea. You have the guilty mind. You must judge differently, the way we judge humans differently. Biological instinct versus malice. And like I also said last discussion, you can't punish or kill a bear or a lion for killing and eating prey. If a bear attacks you in the forest, it's territory. How are you going to get mad at the bear for simply surviving, doing what's simply biologically coded in it to do? It does get complicated if you consider that animal an invasive species, and the Hunter Association wasn't tasked with killing the Chimera ants as punishment, but rather for humanity's own survival, as the ants threatened humanity's survival as they knew it, to become the dominant predator. It wasn't moral punishment, it was just business. It's humans taking out an invasive species, the same we do with certain animals across the world. In another predator. Humans had no knowledge, like I said, that the ants had so much human in them, to the extent that they remember their names, their memories, carried on personality, could even freely choose the life they want to live. Colt only ever followed orders, survived following his biological coding. He hunted for the queen because that's all he knew. He followed orders loyally. He never relished killing. He never taunted or tortured. Feeding the queen was the only good he knew. The moment a higher good came around, became visible to him, known to him, which this episode, that's this child, baby, he pivots to it. It's hard to call Colt a murderer or a monster if he only ever did these things to feed the queen, feed the nest, and follow his biological design. An animal killing another animal for survival, the same as no different than a bird grabbing a fish out of the water. He never killed maliciously, just for the sake of killing, not the enjoyment of killing. Which is a very human thing. Murder is a human thing. So for the ants who did kill for fun, kill for recreation, because that's only a human trait, you can then judge those. Because they know what they're doing. They are humans in mind and all but body. Every death in Hunter x Hunter this way, every death in Hunter x Hunter has context behind it and has to be taken in that context. It's very fascinating to think about that. And it's very unique. In Hunter x Hunter, every death has context behind it. And you have to remember that. Are the Chimera Ants monsters, or were they just animals operating on instinct and nature and their biological functions? Find food for the queen. Period. Then they evolved, became more human, and changed. Use Killua as an example. If the Chimera Ants are monsters and deserve punishment, is Killua much different? Killua has killed hundreds for sport, for training, for work. We've seen him cut people in half for simply bumping into him, and we've seen him rip a man's heart out. Is he a monster who should be punished? Or was he allowed to evolve and change? If Killua can be judged as more than a sum of those acts because he can choose and repent and change, then Colt and some of the others must be judged by the same rule when Colt shows the same capacity for choosing, repenting, and changing. Colt chose his human side, and he didn't even verbally answer Morel. You visually see his answer when he smiles, closes his eyes, and embraces the child in his hands with the happy memory of his mother and sister playing in his mind. With that music in the background too, during that scene, whoo, goosebumps. Back in the truck, outside of NGL, who knows how many miles away? Still awkward silence in that truck until Gon jumps up and screams, announcing he's recovered. No more sulking about feeling sorry for yourself. No time for that. What am I doing? Not training to get stronger here. That's exactly why I lost, right? So let's get on our feet. Knuckle and them are going to save Kite, so I have to be ready for when they come back. I can't have Kite returning and seeing me all weak and pathetic, and see that I haven't grown. I'm not going to disappoint Kite the second I see him again. Spin says the same thing. Gon might have known Kite since childhood, but this survey team has been with him the longest and have the most memories with him. They know him best. Kite would never want to see Gon and Killua like this, and Kite would never want them to have any regrets. So drop all of that. What must they do now then? Make the correct decision and find the will to follow through. That's resolve, baby. Exactly how Kite himself described it. She got that from Kite for sure, and she's extending it to them, reminding them of what Kite likewise told them just before they separated. Resolve, making the correct decision and finding the will to follow through on it. And I love, immediately after this whole thing about Kite coming back, we see fucking zombie puppet Kite attack Knuckle and shoot. God damn. We also learn Spin's backstory. which I like because it illustrates the members of this group as serious individuals with dreams and convictions of their own. They're to be taken seriously. They're here for a reason. And they all probably have an origin story or a deeply personal backstory connecting them to Kite in some way, which made them want to follow him and learn under him. Just like Jing did it for Kite. Kite extended what Jing taught and gave him onto others. Spin and Stick Dinner are bonded to Kite in their own way. All the others probably as well have their own. Also makes you think we're definitely seeing those swans at some point. The other squadron leaders are spreading themselves across the land, each calling themselves king. Chitu is the speed king. We saw Chitu's new Nen enhanced speed, definitely an enhancer. Gator calls himself the glutton king. Gon can't use Nen right now, he's useless. But with the Chimera Ants now a global threat, no longer contained solely to NGL, it will be exciting to possibly, if we do see it, they can still get themselves involved, or other characters can as well, because now this is a global threat. It's not just contained to NGL. We can see Gon Killua possibly going after those, or other characters going after them. We have to worry about them too. In general, for the most part, what this episode really showed me, I love how Hunter x Hunter makes the villains feel like actually fully realized characters. People, or in this case Chimera, who actually possess complex emotions, wants and attachments, dreams and regrets, personality, things like that. And your thoughts and opinions and your feelings about these certain villains actually sway. They ebb and flow episode by episode. The Queen's death was sad. You want Colt to live. You want to see how this baby grows up. You want the Chimera Ants to be judged individually. You don't want the Chimera Ants to all go extinct. To have the whole species lumped together. God, what an episode. No action this episode, but holy shit, how deep was this episode if you put in the effort? And so, keep the conversation going down in the comments below. Head over to my Patreon, check it out if you're interested in unedited reactions and exclusive videos. Having said all that, and with that said, so long, farewell, until next time, thank you, have a good one, peace.